So I've wanted to make this video for a long time, and honestly, I've kind of been rambling in my head with different opinion and kind of expressing different things of how I feel about this particular character. Now, I just want to give a little bit of a backstory to my kind of history with The Walking Dead. I started reading the comics before the show actually came about. I wasn't really a massive fan of the comics though before the show. I picked up a book. I think I picked up the first volume from a library. I read it, and I read most of the others online. And now, after the TV show came about, the first season, my kind of fandom did sort of build up for The Walking Dead, and I began to read the comic a lot more than I did in the past. And so I was kind of, I've always been sort of as big of a fan as the comic as I am with the show. Now, I can't really pick a favourite, to be honest. I'm going to say that. Now, one sort of key element and key feature in the show that a lot of people recognise that isn't in the comics is the character of Daryl, and obviously Merle, his brother, but Daryl is the main character that people sort of think of when they think of comic book changes and TV show changes. And now I'm going to be honest with you. Season 1, Season 2, probably Season 3 as well. I absolutely loved Daryl. He was by far my favourite character, and I really did like him. He was such a flexed out. He was such a badass, and he was so cool. And honestly, there wasn't anything about him I didn't like. I really like. He was so cool. Now, as we kind of went about Season 4, Season 5, and now Season 6 kind of times, I've kind of detached from his character a lot more. I don't like his character as much anymore, and the reason I don't like his character anymore is because he's kind of lost that sort of badassness he used to have. I don't like, to me, he feels a lot more emotional. Now, I know this is character development, and I know the whole stuff with Beth. I did not like the Daryl and Beth storyline. I hated it. I hated the whole Beth storyline. Honestly, Beth is one of my least favourite characters. Sasha is one of my least favourite characters. And the reason that they are my least favourite characters is they're not in the comics. And there are some characters I do like. Merle, for example. Merle, I absolutely loved. He's still one of my favourite characters to this day. I think he's one of the most interesting characters. So to me, characters from that aren't from the comics and purely invented from the show, they can work. Merle is my personal favourite example of that. Now, obviously, Daryl, for a lot of fans, is their favourite, and it probably will always be their favourite, and I understand that, and I get it. I can still get why you like Daryl, but just me as a fan, I've been a fan for a long time, so it's not like I'm an amateur and I've just started watching the show a year ago or something. The amount of merchandise I have is ridiculous. So I could probably say I'm definitely gonna say I'm a hardcore fan, and I probably will do a video about showing off all my Walking Dead merch one day. So I'm gonna be honest. I don't like Daryl's character. I want him to die. Don't bombard me with hate, please. And I know a lot of people will disagree with me, and that is perfectly fine, and I couldn't understand why. A lot of people don't like Merle's character. I personally love Merle's character. I think he's probably one of the better ones in the show. A lot of people don't like Gabriel. I personally love Gabriel's character. Even when he was portraying the group, I still liked his character because it made sense. This guy is a priest. He's been surviving on his own. He's a man of the Lord, and these people came into his church and slaughtered them with machetes and the butts of their guns. Any right Christian, any right man who has encountered this group and then encounters this amazing community, which is got all these walls and safe, is probably going to tell the leader. And I think it made sense for Gabriel's character, and I like Gabriel for sticking up for himself. For not cowering behind. And I know the group, obviously we followed the group, but the group are questionable in their ethics. So yeah. So of course we have the Negan kill that's going to be coming up, and in October it's going to be revealed who it is. Personally, just briefly, I'm going to say I think it is Glenn. I just think the story depends on Glenn's death, and I know that a lot of people don't think it is Glenn. I still think it is Glenn, and I'm going with that as my bet. Maybe I'll be wrong. I don't know, but I prefer it if they killed Daryl. I really do. it would drastically change the story. His death would be meaningful, and it would make a lot of sense, and it would really, really shock the audience. I think Daryl's death I'd really enjoy it if it was by the hands of Negan, because Negan is a sort of force that can't be that kind of can't be destroyed. You know, even this point in the comics, he is still alive, and he is still going strong, and he is still causing shit for the group, and that's just the beauty of his character. He can't be stopped, and it would just make so much sense if this absolute badass beats another absolute badass. So I do think Negan should kill Daryl. Do I think it's going to happen? I don't think AMC have the balls, to be brutally honest. They shot Daryl, he's been wounded, he's kind of got his punishment already, and that's what I think is going to happen with Daryl. He's just going to be spared. But I do want Daryl to die. And that's kind of my opinion on Daryl's character. I don't really like him so far. He's kind of, you know, I liked him. I did like him in season 1 to 3, and he was definitely my favourite character at that point, more than Rick. But now Daryl's kind of gone, he's going more and more down my list as these other characters are coming about. Yeah, which is a shame. I mean, what could they do to improve Daryl's character? Well, I'm not really too sure. The problem with his character is that he was kind of solely created as this sort of badass figure. But the problem is, badass characters, I feel like meant a lot more for movies than they are TV shows. Although it's cool to have a badass character from TV shows, when you kind of go into their story a lot more, obviously we have the stuff of Merle. The stuff of Merle I adored, honestly. The stuff of him and Merle was just beautiful, and it was just beautifully done. And you know, up to the point where he actually kills Merle, was just amazing. Honestly, it was the best thing I've ever seen. But after season 3, after the whole Merle storyline, I just honestly think that Daryl's characters just got weaker and weaker, and now I don't like the character whatsoever. Which I really do feel ashamed. And if you told me, you know, when I was watching season 3, if you told me you're not gonna like Daryl come season 6, I'd tell you you're an idiot. I'd say no way, I'm gonna love Daryl right to the end. But for me, Daryl has just become a lot more kind of stale. And that's just my opinion. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me, and I understand why. I can totally understand why. And please send all the hate towards me. You can do it. You can do it. I don't care. You know, I have been a fan of this universe for so long. I think honestly, I can say this, and I'm taking the chance to do it, to say this, to preach the Daryl's character. He's evil, not evil. He's stale. Now, okay, so agree with me, disagree with me. I don't really care. Don't dislike just because I have a different opinion than you. I'd appreciate it if you didn't. But if you have an opinion on Daryl, different opinion, I'd love to hear it. I definitely will try and reply. But that's just my opinion on why I think they should kill Daryl. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and yeah, I'll see you next video. Goodbye.